What is up, guys? It is the Bluebloods here, and we have our first FCS playoff preview, man. And listen, with the playoffs being so wide, I figured I wouldn't have a lot of time to drop individualized previews, especially on Thanksgiving week. So listen, if you're looking for other previews, come to the channel 6:30 p.m. Central Time tonight. I'll be doing a full round one breakdown, predictions for every single first round game, and I'll be taking y'all's questions live. I promise y'all more live streams tonight, Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, live right here on the Blue Bloods. We are breaking down the entire first round and going over predictions, man. But we had to cover one game, man. Listen, Mr. Campbell might have disavowed from the channel if I didn't drop this as an individualized preview. So, listen, we have FAMU traveling to Hammond to take on Southeastern Louisiana, 6 p.m. Central Time, live on ESPN Plus this Saturday night. And if this weekend with rivalry week couldn't be any bigger with Thanksgiving, the FCS playoffs begin on Saturday, man. If there's some amazing matchups, but for me, one of the ones I would say I'm most excited for features the number one offense in the FCS in terms of total yards and scoring offense against the number four ranked defense in FAMU in terms of total yards allowed this year. And is going to be one of the best matchups of the first round of the playoffs. And I didn't think there'd be any better game to preview right here on the Blue Bloods. But let's set the table for this huge matchup, and then we'll go into some keys, for the game. But the Lions enter this matchup 8-3 from the Southland, and they're looking to bounce back from a tough loss to Nicholls State last weekend. But the Lions are looking for their Walter Payton Award winner and Cole Kelley to carry this team deep into the playoffs, and they're looking for their second FCS playoff win in the first round in the last 3 years. They had one 2 years ago in 2019 as well. So there's going to be a lot on the line here for the Lions, while the Rattlers enter this one 9-2. They're riding an 8-game win streak going into this one, and will be making their first FCS playoff appearance in like 20 years, man. So this is huge for the Rattlers, and they're going to be carrying the pressure of the entire SWAC right now, because the SWAC is 0-19 in the playoffs. And you're looking at this Rattlers team as possibly the first team to win it. And they're also the FCS national champions from 1978 as well. And listen, that the fans will make sure to remind you of that. And I love it, man. So this Rattlers team knows how to win in the playoffs, and they've done it before. So don't count them out. And on top of that, I like to give series history. Well, this will be the first ever matchup in the history of either of these programs. So history is going to be made either way in Hammond, Louisiana on Saturday night. Now, the keys for the game, man. I'll start with the Rattlers. The key for the Rattlers this weekend has to lie in the legs of their three-headed monsters in the running back room. And they have to run the football, run it again, and run it all the way back to Tallahassee, man. They should give Bishop Bonnet, Terrell Jennings, Jalen McLeod as many carries as humanly possible. I mean, I said on the roundtable with Scotty on Wednesday night, they should have to take Bishop Bonnet home in an ice bath. They should run the football so many times. Now, when you look at this offense, they should have some chances to move the football. This Lions defense allows over 156 yards per game on the ground this season, while FAMU's averaging over 165 on the ground and almost 5 yards per carry for the season. And this rotation of three running backs always keeps fresh bodies in the game and can really wear down a defense. When you look at the opportunity, I would say, FAMU has, you look at what Nicholls State did last week against this defense. They ran for almost 300 yards and 5 touchdowns against this Lions defense. When you look at Bishop Bonnet and the stable of running backs that FAMU has, I think they easily can replicate that, and that should be their game plan. They should want to run it down Southeastern's throat all game long. They want to shorten up the game, and they want to keep that explosive Southeastern offense off the field. The more possessions you give to Cole Kelley, the more possessions you give him to be special, which he has been special his entire career for Southeastern. Now, you look at the leader of the group, I would say, is Bishop Bonnet. I think he's been one of the most impressive players in the SWAC this season, almost 1,000 rushing yards. He's averaging over 6.5 yards per carry, 5 rushing touchdowns. He's actually tied first in the SWAC in total rushing yards with Gary Quarles for Alabama A&M, fourth in the SWAC in yards per attempt, and he's top 5 in rushing touchdowns. Bishop Bonnet can do it all, and he's lightning in a bottle when he gets into the open field. And the number one thing you see on film sometimes with Southeastern is the second, when you get to that second level, they miss tackles sometimes. You can make them miss in space, and that's going to be key for Bonnet, is if he can get to the second level, make one or two guys miss, and create some explosive plays. The best way to match Southeastern is to create your own explosive plays, because I don't think any defense in the country at the FCS level can stop Southeastern's offense, but you have to try to limit it. And your offense being explosive and keeping them off the field with the rushing attack is the number one way to do that, similar to what Nichols did just a week ago. You also look at Terrell Jennings, over 500 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. McLeod, 3 rushing touchdowns of his own. These guys, when you look at FAMU's schedule, the biggest games that they played in and their most impressive wins have been when all 3 guys are clicking. They need to keep fresh bodies in, and they have to have somebody take the baton and lead this offense on the ground. They should run the football. And I said on the round table, these guys should combine for no less than 50 carries, in my opinion. You have to run the football, and don't abandon it too early, because Southeastern, in my opinion, is going to game plan for you running the football, especially because they know you saw the film from last week. So even if they load the box early, don't abandon the run. Be consistent and be balanced, and the run will come. Listen, it's just like hammering away. You have to hammer it and hammer it and hammer it, and eventually something will break. Do not abandon the run if you're FAMU. Now, the other part, this FAMU offense, isn't a pass-heavy offense, but the passing game can't disappear. Rashawn McKay and these wide receivers still have to be playmakers, and here's what I expect to happen. I really think FAMU, you're not going to see a lot of deep balls or anything like that. They're going to keep it short. They're going to give McKay high percentage throws, possibly off of a play action, and they're going to let their receivers make plays in space. They don't want to test, I don't think, the secondary deep, because when you look at Southeastern Louisiana, they rank 6th in the FCS with 16 interceptions. That would lead the SWAC this year by 4 interceptions. So the Southeastern Louisiana defense might give up a lot of yards, but they force turnovers at a high rate, especially interceptions. That secondary has some studs in it. You look at Zai Alexander leading the Southland with interceptions this year as a freshman, was one of the best players in the Southland. I think they're going to keep it short and sweet in the passing game, keep Rashawn McKay comfortable, and let Xavier, Jamari, Chad Hunter make plays in space one-on-one with these defensive backs. When you look at McKay, had a great year, 20 passing touchdowns, only 4 picks for over 2,200 yards. But Smith and Shareed are the 2 guys you have to look out for. They're X factors this weekend. No pun intended for the X-Man and Xavier, but over 50 catches, 600 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. Shareed over 500 yards and 9 receiving touchdowns himself. These guys have to play big. Listen, if you get a one-on-one opportunity on the outside, these guys have to go create separation. And when you get the football, turning those short gains into explosive gains is the key, because that's exactly what Southeastern is going to do on the other side of the football. So they have to go make plays happen in open space. And then, of course, in the red zone, I mention them every time I do a FAMU preview. Kamari Young at tight end in the red zone has to be a factor. 4 receiving touchdowns this year. Southeastern is 60 for 66 on red zone attempts. So if they get in the red zone, they are putting points on the board. You have to do the same. And with this offense averaging down near 50 points a game, you have to put touchdowns on the board and not field goals. So that's going to be a key for FAMU as well. Now, looking at Southeastern, man, if you watch the game, you know what I'm going to say, right? You have to. The passing offense is second in the FCS with over 413 yards per game. So the key is put the ball in the best player's hands. You might have the best player in the FCS level at Cole Kelley. You have to let him go win this game on one of the biggest stages. You have to say, listen, lead us to the promised land. Here's the football. Get the ball to your wide receivers and go make plays like you do every single week. They're going to have a tough test, though. This FAMU defense ranks 8th in the FCS with only 168 yards per game allowed in through the air. So they got a top 10 passing defense against the number 2 ranked passing offense, and they rank first in the FCS in yards per attempt this year. It's going to be a huge focal point. They're going to spread you out. Cole Kelley's going to make the right decision, and you're going to have to trust your secondary to make tackles in open space, and you're going to have to trust your D-line to get to Cole Kelley. That's the only way you're going to slow down this offense, because I don't think there's a way you can stop it. They're putting up, in my opinion, they're putting up no less than 28 points, and that would be on like one of their worst days like they had against McNeese earlier this year. When you look at Cole Kelley, though, man, the stats are ridiculous. Completing over 74% of his passes for over 4,300 yards, 38 passing touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, over 400 yards rushing, and 16 rushing touchdowns, because when you have a 6'7", 260 quarterback, when he's coming downhill, you can't stop him. Now, when you look at where that ranks in the FCS, guys, first in completion percentage, second in yards per attempt, third in rushing touchdowns, and that's for everybody. So he's third in the country in rushing touchdowns as a quarterback, first in passing efficiency, third in passing touchdowns, and he leads the country in passing yards. I mean, this kid has been spectacular. I think his name will probably be called in the NFL draft, or at least it should. The number one thing for Kelley, though, he's got to be efficient like he usually is this weekend. He cannot turn the ball over. FAMU is also very stingy in the secondary, and when they get to the quarterback, they strip you. A lot of ask Bethune-Cookman what happens if you turn the ball over last week. They scored 40 points in just one quarter last week. And also for Kelley, the other thing is you have to be dynamic with your legs outside the pocket. This FAMU defensive line is going to get after Kelley. When things break down, can he step up? Can he step up or out of the pocket and still make downfield throws? And can he turn those potential 5 to 10 yard lost sacks into positive gains with his legs? And that's going to be a huge key for Southeastern to win this game. Now, the other half of this key lies in this outstanding receiving core for the Lions, and they deserve a lot of credit for this elite passing attack. Creating separation, making plays happen down the field against a very athletic and physical secondary is going to be key for them. It all starts with the All-American. Austin Mitchell has been electric this year. 66 catches, over 1,000 yards receiving, 9 receiving touchdowns, and over 15 yards per catch. Austin Mitchell is lightning in a bottle, and by far the number one target for Cole Kelley, and he is a matchup nightmare. BJ Bowler, whoever is who I believe will cover him, but anybody, BJ Bowler and the rest of the corners have to step up in a giant way this weekend. They're not. If you allow them to make plays in open space, FAMU is just could get out of hand. You have to lock these guys up. You have to be able to play on islands, because they're going to spread you out, and you're going to have to play one-on-one football, man. And when the ball's in the air, you have to be a playmaker. You have to find a way to go and get it. Austin Mitchell is the key. He can do it underneath. He can do it in the intermediate game. He can do it in the deep. I mean, he's all over the field. And when everything is in doubt, Cole Kelley looks to Austin Mitchell, and so he's going to be an X factor this weekend. Now, Gage Lavardian is also a monster, man. Over 480 receiving yards, 5 receiving touchdowns. CJ Turner, 5 touchdowns. And also the key, too, is how creatively Southeastern uses their tight end / H-back fullback. Nolan Given at the tight end spot has been great. Over 5 receiving touchdowns, over 450 yards receiving. He's a problem in the red zone, man. And this guy can get open, and he's big and physical, and he's a matchup nightmare for most linebackers matched up on him. Now, Damian Dawson at the H-back spot, he's used as a blocker, but then also he will sneak out of the backfield and get loose on routes, has 3 receiving touchdowns, and he can be a problem if things break down, and Cole Kelley can find him out in the flats, because he is a matchup nightmare as well. So Dawson and Given could also be huge pieces to this passing attack for Southeastern. But if you're Southeastern, the key is put the ball in arguably the best quarterback in the FCS hands and tell him to do what he does and go win this game for you. That's the key. Austin Mitchell, Given, Dawson, all these wide receivers, tight ends have to go make plays, and you don't have to change up what you do. You got one of the best offenses in the country. Go make plays through the air and take that air raid attack and put pressure on FAMU's secondary to make plays, and that is going to have to be the key. Now, for the matchup to watch, man, this is one that I think is going to play a giant role, especially for FAMU. It's got to be the Southeastern Louisiana offensive line against Florida A&M's defensive line, because if the Rattlers cannot get pressure on Kelley, they're probably going to lose this game. It's going to get extremely tough for this defense to slow this offense down. And on top of that, the Lions cannot let FAMU get to Kelley repeatedly and neutralize their top weapon in the Walter Payton Award winner in Cole Kelley. That could signal big trouble for Southeastern. Now, when you look at Southeastern's offensive line, they've allowed 21 sacks this season. That was good for second in the Southland. And just for comparison, that would rank fifth in the SWAC this year in terms of sacks allowed. It's anchored by 4 upperclassmen, 3 seniors, and they're all going to have to play huge today. They have multiple guys who have been all Southland selections. You look at Rendon Miles' character, first team All Southland this year, 6'3", 290 senior man. He's a 2-time All Southland selection. And also Jalen Bell and Drew Jones have also been multi-time All Southland selections. All these guys are going to have to play big. They're going to have to slow down one of the best pass rushing attacks in the country, because when you look at FAMU's defensive line, they rank 7th in the FCS in sacks this season with 38. They average over 3 sacks per game this year, and that has a huge part in this total in their total defense ranking, top 5 in the country. Now, y'all know who the X factor is, man. And if you're a Southeastern fan listening, the name Isaiah Land has to be on your list of players to watch, man. 19 sacks, guys, 25 and a half tackles for loss, and 43 total tackles, along with 3 forced fumbles on those sacks. Isaiah Land is, if I had to pick one player from FAMU that has to play his best game of the season, it's Isaiah Land. Get after the quarterback. You have to be dominant this weekend. This is Isaiah Land's chance to make real money. Now, the interesting matchup is Isaiah Land's only about 6'3", 215. If he gets to Kelley at 6'7", 260, is he going to be able to bring him down? It's going to be interesting to see how they game plan. Also, Savion Williams, Deontay Williams, Gentle Hunt, Stanley Mentor, these guys are going to have to play big. If I'm FAMU, I know I need size from the inside, because with Kelley, if you get too much pressure off the edge and they get too far upfield, Kelley's going to escape and you're going to have major problems with his legs, and he's going to be able to get out of the pocket and make a play downfield most likely. So for me, if I'm FAMU's D coordinator, I have to move Savion to defensive tackle. Give me Savion and Gentle Hunt in the middle. They've combined for almost 8 sacks this year, over 15 tackles for loss combined. These guys have the most size and the most physicality. And if I can get an interior pass rush, that's going to be key, because an interior pass rush does not allow the quarterback any chance to escape, and it mostly affects their throwing accuracy and decision making. And if you can get up the middle pressure, that's going to be key. If I'm FAMU, I'm saying I'm coming for you. You're going to have to get rid of the ball ASAP. And if nothing's open downfield, we're going to get you on the ground. You have to speed up Cole Kelley's decision making. He's usually so calm and cool in the pocket, and that's why he can pick defenses apart. You have to get after him. Deontay Williams off the edge has to be big. 4 sacks this season as well. Stanley Mentor had a giant game against Bethune last weekend with 2 sacks against Bethune-Cookman last weekend. He's really emerged down the stretch as someone that FAMU can rely on. Get fresh bodies in there and get after Cole Kelley. Stay disciplined in your pass rush lanes and don't let him escape the pocket and make plays with his legs. You also have to take care of the dump off, man. The running backs for Southeastern, they might not get a lot of chances running the football, but they use them very similarly to an air raid style attack, where they are glorified wide receivers, and they will dump it down in open space and they will go make plays. There are plenty of highlights where a team covers the wide receivers downfield really well. The running back sneaks out wide open, and they've turned that into touchdowns. So FAMU has to get pressure on Cole Kelley this weekend. That is the number one key for them. So in terms of predictions, man, listen, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Listen, I've had to pick some huge rivalry games. I mean, I had to pick Ohio State, Michigan this week, a top 5 matchup. Got to pick Oregon State on this channel, the Iron Bowl. None I have racked my brain more than this one, man, because I can talk myself into either team this weekend. But for me, looking at how these teams are playing down the stretch, I really think last week Southeastern gave FAMU the blueprint to win. Because I really do think Bishop Bonnet and these running backs can have a huge game this weekend. And I really think FAMU looks to shorten up this game. They're going to win the time of possession battle. And Isaiah Land and those guys are just going to make one play, guys. I think this game is going over 30 points for sure. And I really just trust FAMU. And the reason is defense travels. And in this type of matchup, I feel like the defense usually prevails. I think FAMU makes one play, guys, a singular play to win this game. I have FAMU winning this one 34-31 over Southeastern and advancing into the second round. This is one of a handful of upsets I have this week. Tune in at 6:30 to find out the other ones. But I got FAMU winning by 3 this weekend in Hammond to knock off Southeastern Louisiana and advance to face James Madison next week in a huge second round matchup up there. But guys, this is our game of the week. Comment your score predictions below. Let me know who you think's winning and by how much and what the score is, and you could win our $50 giveaway if you get it right. So subscribe. Make sure to comment your score predictions below. And listen, tune in tonight, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. We're previewing all the first round games. You can get your questions in about this game, get your predictions in for this game, and we can discuss all of them. I got all the time in the world tonight. We will go as long as y'all want. It's a huge weekend of college football, man. I hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving. If you're traveling, please be safe, man. Get home safely. And this weekend of football is going to be amazing. So tune in tonight to hear about the rest of the first round. But I got FAMU pulling the upset by 3 over Southeastern Louisiana this Saturday night. But guys, have a great one. I'll see y'all tonight. But for right now, the Blue Bloods are out.